Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Georgiemon, and I'm your friendly neighborhood anime and manga fan. I love all things anime and all things manga, and I'm here today to talk about Chainsaw Man chapter 150. So, why did I think about this crazy chapter? I'm speechless. This chapter was completely blew me away. No pun intended. And I thought that it's just shocking. Like literally, like when I finished the chapter, my jaw dropped. Like I'm so conflicted on what to think right now because so much happened that I'm sure most of us did not predict. I know certainly I didn't. So I think that Fujimoto once again proves us why he's the master at just the plot twist and shocking us constantly with these chapters. So mad props. This chapter was phenomenal. Now before I go any further with this week's chapter, I just want to give you guys a quick reminder to make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you guys can be up to date with all my Chainsaw Man as well as all my anime and manga content that I'll be providing in this channel. It really helps out a lot, and I would really appreciate it if you guys could subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if you guys could, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Now with all that out of the way, let's talk about this week's chapter. So the chapter starts off where pretty much you see Denji carrying Naruto, and it's very lighthearted. He's kind of carrying her around, like, as they're walking around, like they're doing their thing, they're heading back to the apartment. We see that Naruto points out, like, so like people are just going to work and like acting like nothing's going on, like, and I just started thinking like to myself, like, yeah, I think like some people would do that. Like if the apocalypse was about to happen, I'm sure that some people would be like, well, I gotta go to my 9 to 5, I gotta pay bills, man. Like if the world doesn't get destroyed, guess what, I might get evicted, so I gotta pay. That was just a funny thought I had in the back of my mind, like yeah, that's cool, like the world might come to end, but bills are bills, man. Sucks to suck. So I thought that was funny. And after that, then we see that Denji's kind of just carrying Naruto around, and Denji's like, yeah, we're just gonna go back to the apartment. And he starts thinking about the cats, and I mean the dogs, and the cat. And as they're going to the apartment, you see like Denji having these thoughts in his head, like just picturing like the regular day life of because Naruto's like, I might have to go to school tomorrow. And you just see him like thinking about them brushing their teeth, them just chilling with the dogs, just a peaceful, quiet life. And as that is happening, we also see that Denji, he's kind of talking to himself and speaking to Pochita. It's like, I think, Pochita, I think my dream came true. Like, my life is fine. Like, I'm happy. Like I got a peaceful life. Like, I got everything I could ever wish for, Pochita. I think my dream has come true. And as we see that Denji, then he has this vision in his inner psyche, and we see the return of the king. We see our goat Pochita back, and that was great. I got a big smile out of it. We haven't seen Pochita since part 1, so it was great seeing him show up again. Like I said, the return of the king. And yeah, Pochita's just like talking to Denji's like, so your dream come true? And Denji's like, yeah, I did. Is like, that's cool, like that's awesome. And Pochita then asks the hard-hitting questions, but then Pochita just talks to Denji's like, hey, so what's your dream now? Like, what's gonna be your next dream? And Denji's just kind of like shook by it because he's thinking to himself like, wait, what? And Pochita's like, yeah, like what are you gonna do now? Like, are you gonna get a bunch of girlfriends? Are you gonna get a lot of money? Like, what's your next dream? And that's the thing that I'm sure Denji has never thought about. Like, I thought he always thought about just having a simple life and that was it. But Pochita's starting to ask, like, what is there more to you, Denji? Like, what else besides just living a normal life would you like to have? And I think that's the thing where we humans, we also think about that ourselves, where we start thinking like, we're very content with the life that we have, but besides that, what is there that we're trying to achieve, or what kind of drives us besides just living your day-to-day simple life? Like, there has to be something. And I think that that's something that Denji's going to start to realize going forward. And I think this is what part 2 has been all about, just focusing on Denji evolving and trying to find the purpose in life. And I think that Fujimoto has been doing a masterful work at planting the seeds and just kind of elaborating more on Denji's character as a whole, because Denji is I think he's a phenomenal character when it comes to shonen. And his arc that he's currently going through at the moment kind of reminds me a lot of for any Gantz fans, he reminds me a lot of Corono's arc in Gantz, where if you trace it all back, you see that they both start like kind of as these misfits, that they don't have any purpose in life. They hate the world kind of, and they're pretty like they're perverted. They're kind of just degenerates. But as the story goes on, they strive themselves and become better human beings. And I think that at the end of part one, Denji did that, and has been trying to elaborate. He's been trying to like find himself, a self-discovery journey. And I think that we're starting to see pretty much the building blocks to the final piece that Fujimoto's building at the moment. But continuing from the whole Pochita thing, then we cut back and Denji, when Pochita was like, "What is your next dream?" And then Denji's like, "My next dream, I want to be Chainsaw Man." Like, and then you see as he says that, there Nayuta and him are looking at the apartment, and you see the apartment in flames. And when I saw that, I was like, "Oh no!" Like, I was just like, "No." And originally, I thought it was gonna be the doing of the Chainsaw Man supporters, because the fire they did a contract with the Fire Devil and why not. And I also thought it was gonna be something along the lines like maybe they burn his house down, like just because they're like, "Oh, screw this guy," or they just rioting or something. No. Who did the explosion and burned the whole place down? Barem himself. And this dude, oh my god, dude, when this dude shows up, I lost it. I was just like, nah, bro. Like, I was like, it's on sight. If I ever catch Barem on the street, it's on sight. I don't care if he burns me. I'm getting one swing in, all right? Because you do not just burn like their house. Because Denji goes and tries to save, like, when he sees the burning, he tries to see, like, tries to save the pets. And as soon as he gets closer, he sees Barem, and he's just like, "Ain't nothing like burning family, huh?" And then he proceeds to just be like, I figure that burning Asa was not gonna do anything, because like you don't even know her like that, whatever. But I figure like if you burn your pets, then that would be great, because pets. The best part about pets is that they're very flammable. And oh my god, dude, like Barem, public enemy number one now. Like, screw Barem, hate him. Makima, despicable monster. Barem, another level, bro. When you mess with someone's pets, that's nah. Like, speaking from experience, I have a dog, and I just just fostered 2 cats right now. Or not a foster, I adopted 2 cats because quick little story. I found these 2 cats, in the middle of the street. Like, they were babies. They were less than a month old. Found them, probably someone abandoned them, sadly. And I took them in, took them to the bed, and I kept the 2 of them. Their names are Robin, based on Nico Robin from One Piece, and the other one's Siri, based off Cirilla from The Witcher. And yeah, just a little side story. But if anybody were to mess with my fur babies, it'll be on sight. I don't care. I'll will fight freaking Goku himself, or I'm trying to think of anybody that's super strong. I'll fight Gojo or something. Like, I'll fight anybody, bro. Like, I don't care. I'll fight Thanos himself with the Infinity Gauntlet. I don't care. It's on sight. Someone messes with my fur babies, it's on sight. And that's exactly what Denji feels like, because when he says that line about the flammable pets, Denji just pulls out his, like, he's about to pull it out, his string, and then we see that Fumiko and the public safety, they start shooting at Barem, and it seems that pretty much he broke out, I'm guessing, and they're trying to apprehend him. And as they're shooting at him, she's like, to make sure that shoot him in the head, because his trigger is his molar. And while that is happening, you see in the background just the public safety just kind of gets sliced up, and who's behind them? The Whip hybrid. So yeah, now it seems like it's complete chaos, and I'm wondering how they're gonna get out of this, because now Denji is put himself in a situation where he has to kind of transform into Chainsaw Man, because he's built up all this rage, and now that his pets and his family has been burned, he has to take countermeasures. And I think that this is the thing that will break the camel's back. Like, this is the straw that breaks the camel's back, because how much can he withstand, and how much can he hold to not become Chainsaw Man? And I think that this chapter really is going to be the narrative and the driving force behind Denji's return as Chainsaw Man, because a lot has happened. Maybe Naruto has to join in. Definitely Naruto has to join in, because now it's personal. They attack their pets, and Naruto loves them pets. So yeah, it's gonna be insane, the next chapter. So I can't wait 2 weeks from now when we get the new chapter, because Fujimoto just cooked. And I would go to say that this is one of the most shocking chapters in all of Chainsaw Man. up there with, you know, Power's death, up there with you know, Makima being the control devil, up there with those Aki turning into the gun hybrid, all those shocking moments. I would put this up there because this is just sad, man. But with all that being said, what did you guys think about this week's chapter? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys thought it was alright? Whatever you guys thought, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Chainsaw Man, as well as more anime and manga content in the near future. But yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.